I take my time, 'cause I'm trying to unwind. For you, it's easy.
Hey guys, so welcome back to Real Talk Ireland. So you're here with me, Cynthia and Brandon. First, I'd like to say thank you so much to Trish and Ashlyn for your guys' interview. It was unreal. And Nathan and Sarah, we learned so much. So here today, I want to ask Brandon a couple of questions about his experience on getting back on his feet for the last couple of years, being an LGBTQ member. So Brandon, so firstly, like, can you tell us, like, when you first kind of came out, how was that experience for you? Family settings, what was that like?
Well, you know, I realised I was in the alphabet mafia very young, definitely. I grew up with a single mother, you know, so not having, I think that kind of, my dad is very masculine, very, very masculine. So having that kind of toxic masculinity out of my life did kind of soften me a little bit, you know. I have a lot of younger siblings as well, so I think it was just kind of that household respect for mom and the kids and stuff like that, that, you know, like girls or anybody was just never even a thing. But then, like, you know, come on, like Danny Phantom, that was a bit of a sexual awakening, you know, a little bit of a cartoon fella going like, what's this? So yeah, I officially came out. I was living with my dad at the time in Finglas, you know, 2013. It wasn't necessarily a time before the chat came out of anything with the same-sex marriage or anything like this. It was still very much very in the west of Finglas a new thing, you know. So
did you find yourself being like, obviously living for Finglas, it is like kind of like a rougher area, like did you find like it was kind of tough? You know, the only catalyst for me actually coming out was my auntie actually passed away that same year, and it was actually her cousins, my second cousins. It was the first gay fella I had ever met, my cousin Gavin Maloney, you know, and he was just a flamer, like a real flamer, you know, Irish dancing champion, you know, big quiff, lovely shorts, skinny jeans, all this. So he kind of was the one that pulled me out, you know. So, but when it came to local family, these were all my cousins from Blanche. The local family in Finglas, it was still very much like, no. Everybody says we knew, but it still was hard. It still was hard. I remember going up to actually tell me dad. I was walking up the stairs and I felt my legs going like jelly. And I was standing in front of him and I was I have to tell you something, you know. And then who was to know that it wasn't a big fucking deal, you know. Only 2 years later then, the conversation just changed, you know. It really did, especially around them areas. It really did change. And like coming out of Finglas, so okay, fair enough, it was clearly tough enough coming out Finglas, you know, coming out to maybe your estate friends, locals or whatever. So where did you find the outburst, you know? Where did you find that place where I am part of the alphabet mafia and I'm proud?
The city centre, you know, that's where, you know, where we crossed paths again. The city centre was so diverse around that time, you know, the noughties or the 2010s, you know, after the marriage referendum, Central Bank was just a hub for not just...
Actually, how did that make you feel? Because you were actually quite young. Like, it wouldn't have been a time where you were worried about getting married, do you know what I mean? But either way...
It was nice, you know, like being in the city centre around loads of different people from different backgrounds, you know, different ethnicities that were like that, transgender, or, you know, having people like that were just non-binary. I had friends who were, you know, men that just genuinely, like, their features, they just looked like women, you know, and these were people that, me even being a little bit more of, you know, a masculine. At the time, I didn't realise I was bisexual, so I was still a bit of a flamer. I was wearing me bowler hats and these skinny jeans, dress shoes. But when it came to that marching and that kind of real solidarity of, like, that community, that was the first time I'd ever, and the last time, to be honest, that I ever felt that sense of a community the way there is in so many other countries, you know, was around that.
I'd like to say, were you, sir, not like surprised, but actually, you know what? Yeah, surprised. Were you surprised by when you came out being, you know, traditionally, obviously I know you, so traditionally Irish background, you know, very Irish, whatever, whether it's, I assume, Catholic or whatever, you know, coming out to your family, like, how was that? How did your parents take it? Like, straight away, were they like, you know what, like, yeah, or like, you know, did it take them a while, or how did you overcome that? Because obviously it took you a while to kind of come out with that, so that alone, it's a big step. And what was the reaction after that?
Well, I hate to do it, but I do draw a lot of similarities because, you know, my mum obviously was very, very accepting. My mum was my mum's firstborn boy. She'd never turn her back on me, you know, that kind of, that goes across all kinds, all different cultures. But with dad, you know, my dad, he's still very young, very, very young. You know, he only had me when he was 18, 19, you know. So still for him being so young, having to accept this when, man, as you know, Finglas, like, this fella was fucking gang in the 90s. Like, he was really doing things. He did actually have a stint in prison in the 90s. He was in prison for 4 years, you know. That's why I was distant from dad. I was distant from dad for a long time, and it was a whole different thing, you know, for him being like, you know, everybody looked at him. He wasn't the oldest boy now, but he was definitely like the lad, you know, the lad, the party boy. Even though I look at all these similarities now, we laugh together.
It's like,
listen, I got a lot less fucking trouble for being gay. I said gay being, but like, when I thought, but like, you think I didn't come out again until I was well into me adult life, you know, when I was just trying to, you know, really, no, you know, I wasn't a college fiend trying to find myself. I was just like, this is me, you know, this is how I present myself now in the present day. But back then, God forbid I had been fucking straight, you know, because I guarantee you, as my dad, I probably would have had 3 or 4 fucking babies for different fucking women, you know. I probably would have had a drug charge
not knowing,
more proper stuff. Who knows? I could have done a stint in Pats, you know. Like, it's not for me to know, but I tell you, if I was going to be anything like my dad, in that way, that would have been it. That would have been the path for me, you know. So,
but yeah, another thing I want to say, that obviously, like, I'm your friend, so I just want to say, like, I am personally so proud of you for the, you know, lengths that you have gone to get yourself to where you are. You put yourself in a lot of positions, and I don't feel like, and I'm saying this because it's like, a lot of people that are part of the LGBT community, they actually have to force themselves in certain situations, most of the time, than heterosexuals, to get what they want, or to be heard, or to be listened to, or whatever. So how did you find yourself getting yourself an apartment, getting yourself a home, getting yourself... Yeah, I know you've always been a hard worker, so that's always stood to you. But how was that from the start?
Yeah, that was it. You know, unfortunately, I got a jump on a lot of people. I left school after 3rd year. You know, I done me junior cert, and then I wasn't one of these fucking slacks. You know, I was doing outreach out in Blanchardstown, and you know, I was still working part-time, just retail work, you know, little kind of shitty jobs here and there, River Island, Top Man and the like. But then I ended up getting a nice...
And we're saying shitty jobs because we know you goddamn underpay your staff.
Oh, come on.
That's why we're saying shitty jobs.
No.
Because folding clothes is not the problem. It's the money that we get. It's the problem. So that's why we're saying shitty jobs. It's not because of the place. We're saying shitty jobs because, you know, you underpay your staff. Okay.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
Absolutely. No. That's right. Listen, this is the thing. Like, I work in retail at the minute. What I do myself, I'm a bartender, but I work for, you know, a really great company. But still, like, with the way that my journey has went was still very all over the place. You know, there was times where I thought that, like, when I was working in fashion retail, I thought maybe I want to be a buyer, you know, maybe I want to walk down this lane, maybe I want to study and, you know, go and do merchandising or business. And I held back on a lot of these things. And that was honestly the best thing for me, you know, to really, like, live the teen years, do a bit of work, do a little bit of skill.
Do you feel like if, like, I'm not saying that if the whole entire world as such was more accepting of the LGBTQ club, Alphabet Mafia, you know, you would have been more confident and more present. Like, would you say, like, you know, holding back from, you know, who you are, your sexuality or whatever, will also hold you back on
your opportunities.
Yeah, opportunities.
Yeah, but listen,
like,
it's absolutely, like, I have to say, I'll throw my hands up and say, that was not me.
Yeah, okay.
No fucking way did I let that hold me back. I have never, ever, ever, ever let anything any of my socio-economical backgrounds, my sexuality, my religious beliefs, I have never let any of that limit my potential. But I'll say I'm an odd cause in that sense, because there are a lot of LGBTQ people that would feel uncomfortable going outside of an environment that they're used to. You know, they're staying in their local areas. They're working in a fucking Tesco Extra for €11. They're not meeting new people. They're talking to people that live down the road from them. Because this is like myself going out to I had work in Blanchardstown, then I got a job in Arnott's, and I was working in the city centre, and then I got a job as, you know, I was working for a vape shop. I still smoked very heavily when I was working here, but I had the best sales of every person there because I was just able to level with people. You know, like I say, to me it was an advantage because as any minority will know, like that's what I would like to, you know, kind of share from my own experience as well. Like to me, LGBT issues are fucking black issues. You know,
it should be everybody's
Muslim
issues. Yes, 100%.
You know,
humanitarian.
We all take issue with xenophobes, people that, you know, don't like people from other places or aren't willing to assimilate and become, you know, different cultures. So it is hard for me. You know, I'm still trying to. You know, sometimes I still have to correct Cynthia when she says LGTB, lesbian, gays, and tuberculosis. You know, we're not a fucking disease. Like, goddamn.
Every day's a school day.
That's
Cynthia.
why I say the alphabet mafia.
Exactly,
They get me every time. To get me every time.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just have to listen. It's different. We're all learning at the same time. You know, it's this thing as long as we're not afraid of learning something new, that'll be all right.
Yeah.
You know, that's the biggest problem I have with people.
I want to say as well, like, okay, through your path of becoming, because I think they let's not ignore, in our life purposes, we're all here to become independent every step of the way. Right, you want to move out, you want to get an apartment, you want to do, you know, the same things as, you know, maturing, getting to the next level.
All the pillars, like this is what I'm saying, is that I like, you know, I can still go to Pride, but for me, when people make something like their sexuality such a big part of their identity, when for me, a bigger part for my life was to make sure that I had good work, that I had a relationship with my family, you know, that I had hobbies, that I had a relationship with God or fucking AWA or whatever you want to call it, that there's someone else I can talk to that's not down here. You know, whether it's talking to, you know, my auntie that passed or my grandmother that passed, I have little intervals, times like that. That's what makes
so it would be safe to say that you are that you are included in that generation where, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to let the Bible rule me. There is a God, and I don't care what I am and who I am. I will still believe in what
Sodom
you believe
and
and
Gomorrah,
feel happy
man.
about
Check
it.
that fucking shit out. If you really want to try and quote that to me for anti-fucking Sodomites,
I love that.
get up out of my DMs.
Yeah.
I'll slap you down with a load of Psalms. I'm telling you now.
Yeah, but I love that because
Genesis,
like I generally feel like no matter your differences, like so we always say, like, you know, the Bible was half written and half this. We all don't know where the truth comes from, right? So my best interpretation is that the main thing that says is that God will always love you.
Love
and that's
is
the first
love,
thing.
please.
So why would anything after that?
This is going to turn into a Methodist.
No, but why would but still.
My God, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Anything after that, like, that's the main message you need to get. Anything after that
about God is he's like a barber shop. He can't fix you up if you don't come into the shop.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think at the same time, like for me, like I'd be more like question if he's wearing up, but I'd be more spiritual. Like I know there's something.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Like, I think it's important.
Exactly.
But it does help you. Like for someone who like is definitely sure that there's a God. Like it just depends on who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like I feel like religion sometimes is like people's way of like, you know, like you're happier.
Yeah,
if something's making you happier, then that's the main thing.
Ignorance is bliss. My God, like,
and I feel
why
as
can
well.
I just not let you know? Why did I lose this money? It's not me. It's not this. It's why they want it. You know. It's like, okay, right, this person passed away. Okay, I don't want to have to worry about disease or was it this or was it that.
Yeah.
It was all part of a greater plan, something that I'm not meant to know. I can be a scholar in any different, you know, I could be a doctor in any different thing, but I'm not meant to know about what's going on here. It's already written.
But I think openness is so important, though. Like some people that are religion and they take every single word in the Bible or every single word in the Quran or whatever religion they're literally you have to be open and interpret things.
The main thing that they say every single time is trust your gut. another gap that we have noticed. So on your search and vengeance of becoming more independent, coming outside of your home, knowing your family, your LGTB, you know, at that point you kind of you want to do your own thing, you know, you want to separate or whatever. And there's a few gaps in the government help or surrounding communities, societies that could help you to do that. And the one thing that we discussed that there was a huge gap about was, you know, there wasn't a society or sort of community supporting homeless LGBTQ plus members. And you know what, like, did you find that hard? Did you kind of come out of the nest thinking, you know what, I will get help. Like, were you disappointed? How did you feel? Like, coming out of that situation, like, how did you feel? You were lucky, let's not deny that. But when reaching out for help, never mind the less that you were someone else.
Yeah.
Was there a lot of help? Or was there not?
No. Well, listen, the services are lacking all over the place. Never mind the extra protections. I have seen, you know, and I've heard stories as well. Like, my mum does a lot of work with, you know, homeless charities. Often it goes unheard of, you know, they're making meals and stuff for homeless people, oftentimes every week. And this is after us all coming out of an experience together. You know, 2015 was still not a great year. While I was doing all this fighting and activism, I was actually in a hostel on Lower Gardner Street. So it was handy. I never had to pay bus fare to go into Temple Bar. Just money for smoke, money for a €4 bottle of wine, and that fucking done me. I got to go in and kind of release with a load of other preteens that were going through shit. But yeah, you know, I had to, unfortunately, I had to stay in a home with my mum. We were at a worse time, you know. Relationships kind of change after fucking 20 or 15 odd years, you know. Someone knows you since there. Basically, my mum was younger again, you know. She was only 17 when she had me, so she was still a kid, you know, and she's trying to understand all my shit, and I'm trying to get at her, like, you don't get my shit. She's like, oh, but I do. But yeah, it was, I had contemplated leaving the accommodation from my mum. I was being inspired by the internet and thinking like, oh, I'm going to go on there and it's going to be like American, it's going to be like England. But really it's not. You know, Ireland is still only going there. Last murder for being gay was in the 1980s. Yeah. You know, so it's still a
Conversion
new
therapy is still
thing.
legal.
We have not got, we've no developed services for stuff like that.
I have seen something like that on Instagram before. And I was like, are you being serious? Like, someone shared a video of someone like on conversion therapy, and they're like, now I did this and this, and now I'm this, and it's like,
no,
come on, like, and even the fact that even if you did change or whatever you're saying, why are you saying that people that are not like that are bad? Like, it's crazy.
Exactly,
it's not right.
Exactly. But that's the crazy thing about it, isn't it? Like, you know, once you become one side, you think that you are naturally
superior.
Yeah, do you know
It's
like
no, but saying something's bad, like for example, feeling like or being proud of our blackness. Sometimes society tells you that being something is not beautiful or is not this or not that. Yeah. Like, it's
you're
just like
programmed to feel lesser, whether you feel it or not.
And that's not religious either. Yeah. Like being whatever sexuality you are, that shouldn't have anything to do with religion. And some people associate with that, and it's like that's not fair. You can't say religion is that.
It's faith. And it's faith in the beyond. It's not.
Yeah.
If you want to choose to believe this, you can. If you don't, you can't. You don't have to, and you won't be discriminated because there's so much people on the other side that will also believe what you believe.
Can I ask real quick, right? Being black or being bi, do you feel a pressure to fight publicly and display publicly how proud you are?
Always.
Or okay, so do you feel a pressure or do you want to do it?
Yeah, want.
Okay.
It's a want. Put in predicaments where you feel like different already. Like, I wouldn't have this feeling of feeling different if someone didn't be like, well, you don't get this because you're this. You know, I wouldn't feel different until someone had then pointed out that you look different, you're different.
Get a snapshot.
And then
Get a snapshot. You just rub my wine.
Makes people want to go out and then fight for, like, you know, fairness.
Yeah.
So basically, we're all the same. We're all bleeding legends, and you know what? That's what makes the world interesting. Yeah.
And I think
yeah.
I wanted to say that we noticed, me and Brandon were talking about all the situation of trying to move out and become your own individual. It was tough. Like I don't feel like, for such a minority, because, minorities are the ones that get help. And another thing that a minority kind of got ignored is the LGBTQ plus Q homeless minority. LGBTQ plus Q.
Lesbians, gays, and
Les-
tuberculosis.
I get it wrong every time. I'm literally like, guys, stop.
Say Alphabet Mafia.
Yeah,
Alphabet Mafia.
the Alphabet Mafia have been discriminated against.
Disproportionately.
Yeah.
it's true.
Did you find
But
that was there any
listen,
help? Could you reach out to anybody out there?
This is my first attempt at cribbing and crying about it.
Mm-hmm,
I'll be honest, because it's just something that I never thought I would really maybe get behind again after we got gay marriage by popular vote. One of the only countries in the world to do that, one of the only countries in the world to do that. So for me, that felt like enough, but it's not. From looking at the other side now, I've still to know now, as I'm saying, I'm working with homeless people and homeless charities that have been involved with myself. LGBT people, even now, even in this modern, great Irish country that we have now, where it is so multicultural, you're looking at people more widely. You're not looking at, like you said, these privileged people getting kicked out of their houses. You're looking at maybe now the travelling community has started having people come out.
Yeah,
Now the black community has started having people coming out. Those are people who are still going to be kicked from their homes.
100%.
Absolutely, straight out. You're gone. It's the same way.
It's too
You
different.
have people applying for asylum seekers coming from countries where it's still gay, and you can still be beaten, obviously locally for being gay, and they're coming to direct provision here, and the crap they have to put up with, the crap, the trials they have to be put through, the questions they have to ask, these highly invasive questions about their own personal lives.
Can I actually ask really quick? Have you had a chance to offer a hand to somebody from the younger generation?
I have, and I have cousins coming out of me fucking arse and ears, in Finglas now, they're all these different mixed everything, So yeah, I've had to talk to fucking girls about dental dams, and I've had to talk about boys with fucking PrEP, that's pre-exposure prophylaxis. It's essentially a fucking drug you can get for free in this country that limits 99.9% of your chance of catching HIV from somebody's HIV positive.
Wow.
So these are big things. Big
Yeah.
things.
What's
You know,
terrifying is
people
that
need to know
this is
about
the first
that.
time I've ever heard of
That's
that.
what I mean.
What's
I've
that?
never
Sorry,
heard
what's
of
the
it.
name of that
I've
again?
never heard
Can
of
you
that.
just say it?
It's PrEP, so
Yeah.
PrEP,
People should know
pre-exposure
about this.
prophylaxis, and they have one as well, PEP, post-exposure prophylaxis. So if
Okay.
it turns out you think you may have contracted HIV from any, it
Yeah,
doesn't need to be
yeah,
fucking gay sex. It could be from if you
Yeah.
were at a drug party.
Mary and
you're
John,
sharing
anything normal.
anything. Essentially, again, is like a morning after pill for HIV.
Wow.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what I'm trying to do for the younger generation.
Yeah.
my family, I'd
Amazing.
love again to maybe have a bigger platform, but I think the
You saying it
interest-
here now is amazing, and thank you
Yeah.
for educating people
Yeah.
because we need this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that with everyone.
Mm.
Thank you.
Is there
Yeah.
a group, like a lobbying group, that is actually pushing for more education in this situation?
No, as much as there, I'd say maybe 30% of Ireland's TDs at the minute are also part of the Alphabet Mafia. There's no drive, no push, no backing since 2015 for any LGBT issue.
Also, with what you're saying, that medicine that helps, with HIV or whatever, like there needs to be a helpline about that as well to be able to talk about that. Do you know what I mean? Like just to maybe just one just for that, because people need
We're definitely not prepared.
to be educated.
We're not prepared.
Yeah.
We need to be educated.
Kind of like people don't even text the person that they've been with and then let them know as well.
It's
They have to go and find on their own,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
just like a mix up. We have not been introduced into how to adultly deal with this.
Or get help for, or what will help with it, you
Yeah,
know?
because if a woman isn't told about something that she might have and she fails to go to the doctor, that's she has things that may happen that she's not able to have a baby then.
Mm.
There's one
Oh.
piece of advice you could give to somebody that was, I don't know, think about coming out, or somebody younger that was, you know, really unsure of how it was gonna go, like just in general, like what would it be like? Do you have anything specific?
Younger you, basically.
even
let's
like
say,
younger
let's say
you.
10-year-old you didn't even have a clue.
I feel like I'm on RuPaul's Drag Race. The final.
Give it,
They show you a
give it.
picture of you when you're a kid, and they're like, "What would you say to little
It's
you?"
iconic. I love.
That always
It's
makes me
just
cry.
that simple stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Be calm, take a breath. You know, just don't get sucked into the internet and what films and what you have it would have you think about what way you should be and what way you should dress, because sometimes, like myself, you know, the theatrics of it all don't necessarily suit you, and that's all right. You know, that would genuinely be for me, for the little me, because I think like that people who would necessarily be in my situation, you know, bisexual, wouldn't have had any of the chances to do what I have done and to be so sound of mind at such a young age, you know.
Yeah.
I'm going 22 years of age at 12 o'clock tonight. So to have
Happy
this
birthday.
much
Wow.
maturity and grasp on
You are
things,
so mature, Brandon, by the
you
way.
know, I really
So
feel,
mature.
I feel that it was a blessing. It really
Yeah.
was, you know, and like that. Yeah, I just think there's a lot of older people that are still struggling with things like that.
Yeah.
You know, we have a mutual friend, Carol.
Very.
Carol, if you're watching.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. No, thank you so much. That was beautiful. I feel like this whole podcast has
learned
been
so
so nice.
Yeah.
Doing better.
Thank you. Yeah, literally. I've had such a lovely time getting to know you guys, and it's been beautiful. And I feel like everything we've said is so educational, and everybody could take at least a couple of things. Yeah, exactly, 110%. But yeah, I want to say thank you to our guest Nathan for sure. I'll say thank you to our guest Trish
Thank you for having me.
and our final guest Brandon. Woo! And welcome again to Real Talk Ireland. Please tune in to our next episode. And yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
One other thing though, sorry. If you like what you hear, you like what you see, share it, TikTok it, whatever you want to do, let people know, because this is real talk and that's what you're going to get here.
Yeah.
So
And let
There
us
you
know.
go.
Let us know how much you love us.
Yeah. Thank
and
you.
support all our guests as well. They're all legends.
Thank
We
you.
had
Thank
it
you.
under control. Now I don't know anymore. Was I